Me today. I'm going to be doing 2 questions in Torts to add to the multiple choice playlist. The link is going to be below to the supportive material, the outlines that I've created to go along with the Emerson bar, and also the link to the PDF if you don't already have it. So these 2 questions are questions 31 and 32. And the way this works is you listen to the fact pattern, you pause the video on the question, and then you write down what answer you think is the best answer to the multiple choice law question regarding torts. And then I'm going to do 2 together in this video. Normally I break them apart, but it's just easier this way. So I'm going to read this to you now. Paul was 9 years old and a 3rd grade student in school. And while playing in the schoolyard during the recess period, Paul became involved in a fight with David, 10 years old, and a student in the 4th grade. David kicked Paul in the leg during the fight, and as a result of the kick, Paul suffered a fracture of a bone in the leg. Paul, through an appropriate legal representative, has asserted claims for damages against David and against the school district. Question 1. It's really 31, excuse me. Will Paul prevail on his claim against David? The choices are A, yes, because David kicked Paul. Or B, yes, if David started the fight. Or C, no, unless David used excessive force. Or D, no, if David's bones were unusually brittle. Okay, pause it now because I'm scrolling down and I'm going to read off the answer I wrote. Okay, so the answer is C. In this scenario, there's 2 boys on the playground that began fighting. It appears first mentioning that Paul, the younger of the 2 students, engaged in a fight with the older student, David. David kicked him and broke his leg. Since this may have been self-defense, we're going to infer that from how they said it. It wasn't explicit, but it's enough. Where Paul was engaging in fighting with David, and David may be privileged to defend himself as long as he was not using excessive force. The fact pattern does not show excessive force. Okay, now let's look at question 32. Will Paul prevail on his claim against the school district? Is it A, yes, because the fight took place on school premises? B, yes, because the fight took place during the recess period? Or C, no, if Paul was the person who actually started the fight? Or D, no, unless the school failed to use reasonable care in supervising the school premises. You can pause it here. I'm going to scroll to the answer that I wrote, which is actually after the graphic I picked. So the answer is D. The fact pattern does not indicate any negligence or breach of duty by the school district or any recess monitors. Thus, it's likely that unless there was failure to supervise by the staff on the premises, the school district will not be held liable for the injuries. Okay, thank you for listening. Remember, don't read more into the fact pattern than what's there. And if it follows sort of a natural flow, you might be able to infer a little bit. But typically, the fact pattern is not going to say, it will say, oh, they were negligent or something like that. Okay, well, thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.